Greetings, Garden Marcus here, wishing you a happy Earth Day and reminding you to appreciate the plant. This is Garden Marcus, log number 32 on Project Rebuild after the Texas frost of 2021. There were many casualties in the Great Frost of 21. In working toward bringing back the garden's vibrance, I found these plants and loved the colors. This mix of tall pink stalks on either side of the broad forest green leaves with bright pink flowers will be even more striking when it grows out. This is Project Frost Rebuild, noting on planter number 17, one planter with 3 plants. May your colors be vibrant and your roots remain healthy. Greetings, come check out my English ivy in a pot filled with lots of other plants. Here's where I planted it originally, and you can see it's really full here, really thick, and it's grown down and sent out several vines. And these vines have trailed off and really expanded. Look at how it's rooted down into the deck. This reminds me, when we find the right environment, we are really going to grow and thrive. I recently made a video about my English ivy. English ivy isn't native to the US, and so it can be considered invasive as it grows really quickly and has the potential to stifle plants and trees. The video I made was about how when something finds the right environment, it is likely to grow and thrive. If you go to an environment and you begin to grow and thrive, make sure it's not at the expense of others, because that is actually going to stifle your community. Greetings! Today I'm going to be showing you how to upcycle this empty container from Herbivore Botanicals. We can actually get 2 propagations. We can use the lid for one and the jar for another. Here I have my carrot top. Place it in, and just a little water around the edge. So now moving on to the jar. Before I put the water in, I'm going to take the label off. And now I'm going to propagate some pothos. I cut these pothos off of a larger pothos vine. And now I am pulling the leaves off just above the node so that when I put them in water, these nodes can grow out into roots. And just like that, I've got a pothos propagation. I love upcycling because it helps eliminate waste. A lot of product packaging ends up in the landfill. But this jar, whoa. Thanks, Herbivore. Greetings. Today I'm talking about the benefits of self-care with my friends at Herbivore. In the same way I take time to care for my plants, I have to take time to care for myself. Herbivore's exfoliating body scrub Cocoa Rose has given me new insight into taking time to care for myself. A highly moisturizing blend of virgin coconut oil and delicate floral Moroccan rose, this body polish has me rethinking how I treat my skin. I use lotion every day, but for some reason my current lotions weren't sinking in the way I imagined. After I tried this polish, I realized I hadn't been giving my skin the attention and the time it needed. It's important we make time for maintaining and improving ourselves. How we care for ourselves affects how we care for others, and the more we care for each other, the healthier the world is. So a brighter, healthier future starts with caring for ourselves. With self-care, we can harness our full potential, maintain both our inner and outer glow, and better the world around us. Thanks, Herbivore. Greetings. Come check this out. During the frost, I made a video about my elephant ears. This reminds me that we shouldn't give up, because this doesn't look like much, but it is progress. Greetings. Take a look at this succulent. One of the things the garden reminds me all the time is that every plant has a flower, but we don't always see the flower. The flower will only show itself when the right conditions are met. This reminds me that we have to nurture our environments because they nurture us, and in turn help us maximize our potential. As I take my first steps on a freshly laid blanket of snow, I move slowly to appreciate each subtle crunch beneath my feet. I create some snowballs, no shenanigans, okay, maybe one. As I look closely at the oleander tree, my pothos, and tend to the things knocked around in the storm, I remind myself to be conscious of my action. Just like the storm, my actions may be for a short time, but the effects can have lasting consequences. and that will take time to navigate through. Greetings. Let's talk about this plant I have to repot. When we're living in tight spaces with others, our roots get intertwined. So if we're not careful, we can get root bound, which creates a root lock, which prevents the roots from spreading out and prevents the plant from growing. So make sure you check in with each other and give each other room to spread out so that you can maximize your potential. Greetings. Let's plant seeds of love, kindness, patience, and positivity so that we can grow more wholesome roots, which will lead to trees of prosperity and fruits of success that we can all enjoy together.
This is a neat garden hack when sowing tiny poppy seeds. It helps to prevent clumps in one spot. Fill an old-fashioned salt shaker with these seeds and get your garden seasoned. Most of us eat this part of the carrot, which is an enlarged taproot. Or with a broccoli plant, we eat this part here, which is an underdeveloped flower head. But did you know you can also eat this green foliage on the carrots, plus the leaves from the broccoli, and its stem too? Have you ever wondered why you don't see white eggplants for sale at supermarkets? So compared to the darker varieties, many white eggplants have thinner skin which makes them bruise easier, not the best for transportation. Autumn leaves are garden gold. Here are 3 ways you can use them to improve the health of your soil. 1. Place as mulch around your plants. 2. Use as brown material for your compost. Or 3. Transform them into trace mineral rich leaf mould. Here are 2 eco-alternatives to germinating seeds in plastic Ziploc bags. 1. Place them in reusable containers. Or 2. Do as nature intended and germinate them in soil. When pinning out these seedlings, which are growing close together, I used a manicure scissors to snip the stems off of the base, leaving the roots in the soil to decompose. I use this technique for crops that don't like the roots to be disturbed. I just bought these cost lettuce and noticed that there were slugs in the pack. Some of you may think this is gross, but I don't, because it tells me that the farm where these lettuce were grown does not spray the life out of its ecosystem. It's almost citrus season. I'll be swimming in oranges soon. The kiwani is nearly ready as the glass gem corn comes to an end, and there are so many chilies to harvest before Jack Frost arrives. I've got a garden confession to make. When I was a beginner gardener, I'd buy way too many seedlings that would just be left in a corner of my garden, completely neglected. Poor things would just shrivel up. Because I became so overwhelmed, it was too much for me and I just couldn't bring myself to plant them out. So they carked it. Growing your own food definitely enables you to be more creative in the kitchen. My recipes can be wild and adventurous at times, which can make me feel sorry for my family who become the taste testers. I've seen this trend on TikTok where you dip a cucumber into sugar and it's supposed to taste like a watermelon. I had to give this a try with my homegrown cucamelons. I really wanted this to work. I was feeling peckish, but I didn't want to ruin my gardening mojo by going inside to the kitchen. So I grabbed a combo of some food that I'm growing and made this quick garden snack. Here are 2 ways to repurpose old blankets and towels out in your garden. First, soak them in water, wrap around ice blocks and place over your worm farm to keep these little guys cool during hot summer days. Or with larger sheets, use them to retain moisture in your carrot beds, which should help to improve germination.
Hey, I challenge you to duet this video with your newest plant and your oldest plant. And don't forget to show me everything in between.
Does your plant look crappy like this? I'm going to show you how to propagate it and clean this up. Cut off where it starts to look crappy. Cut just before the leaves. Place in water. Wait a few weeks and voila, new roots. Hey gang, I got this really good question from a user on my last video and I wanted to address it because they are absolutely correct. I would never suggest putting any plant in a sealed container like this. However, I'm making an exception for these spring bulbs, and there are two reasons. One is these are generally more water tolerant because they're spring bulbs, and the second is they're spring bulbs, so they're only going to be around for a couple of weeks, and so I'm not too concerned about root rot or if they die. But the person raises a great point. Please don't put your normal houseplants in a glass container. It's not a good idea. So thanks so much for your comment.
Finally, after about 2 years, I managed to get my hands on some elephant garlic. They're monsters compared to regular garlic, but plot twist, despite being called elephant garlic, these are actually not garlic at all. They belong to different species in this genus. Instead of buying a new plastic compost bin similar to this one, you can make your own out of salvaged materials. Or just start a pile off straight on the ground at the back of your garden like this one. One of the reasons why I grow my own food is because I want my family and I to be able to try out unusual heirloom varieties which are not available at the shops.
Once your seeds start growing, it's really important to thin them out. What this means is simply pulling some of the seeds that are growing out of the soil, and this allows for the energy in the seed pod to focus on growing a few really strong ones as opposed to a whole bunch of weak ones. And yes, it's totally hard getting rid of perfectly good seedlings. You could totally try and plant these and see if they survive. They may not, but at least then you're feeling like you're not throwing them away. Also, these cosmos are growing like crazy. I think I can probably save these ones. They have pretty good root systems. But holy, these are really incredible growers here. These teeny weeny basil already smell like little basils. It makes me so happy. Bye-bye, seedlings. Here's a peninsula garden in my neighborhood that I'm going to weed and hopefully rehabilitate so it's a little bit friendlier. All right, it's been about 3 weeks and there are no weeds left, which is exciting. And our first black-eyed Susans have started to bloom. It's midway through August, so hopefully some of the stuff will come back later and we'll see the goldenrod start blooming in the fall. Black-eyed Susans are thriving and the goldenrod is blooming. It's September and things are starting to look a lot nicer.
Okay, TikTok, show me you have a plant obsession without telling me you have a plant obsession.
Do other plant moms see a new leaf coming and you're just like,